Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody. Happy weekend. You're now listening to another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. The Narrator Podcast is the home of original people peace, reciprocity, and positive frames of reference, and I am your host, your brother, like no other, Halsey Allen. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome, family. Welcome to the Narrator Podcast. So, for those who are not up, I will bring you up to speed about my podcast. I give you a brief overview and a walkthrough about what this is all about, and then dive on into the content. But first, I want to give a big shout, a round of applause, if you will, to one of the greatest cultures on the planet, hip hop. Hip hop is 50 years old, and celebrations are going on. Celebrations and commemorations and festivals are going on all over, the nation, all over America and abroad, to, recognize such a powerful culture. So let's do that first before we do anything. And it's really great because, a whole lot of, this is like, I don't know, it reminds me of like a wedding anniversary when you see like maybe your grandparents or great grandparents been together for 50 whole years. That just level of commitment. So to see all those foundational NCs to still, I don't want to say, I'm trying to choose my words carefully because they'll never not be relevant, but influential to the culture, still contributing, to the culture in their 50s and 60s. So still, I know that means something like really special to them today, because they can remember where they was just like, young, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, trying to figure it out, trying to, just make their piece fit on the board. But from how it started out to how it is now, this is something to behold. Definitely we got some positive aspects of it, and definitely some negative aspects of it, but it's mostly positive. The powers that be try to steer it in the negative, and then this is where the guidance has to kick in from the elders of the hip hop community to keep it from getting derailed and turned into, something that it's not supposed to be. But from what I'm seeing on television, I see a whole lot of bridge building, I'm seeing the new generation and the old generation collaborating. I think I had seen a Sprite ad with Rakim and a newer group. Let me punch that up right quick because I don't never want to get it wrong, present misinformation. Okay, got the sisters, the new sisters. So the new one with Rakim, Nas, Lotto. I don't be keeping up, and Glorilla. So like that old and that new, bridging, the gap. So that's definitely monumental. So let's clap it up for that. And in the spirit of the culture, maybe this will like bring about, the sense of urgency to the newer generation, because the newer generation just seems like, it's all about the bag. They didn't come into the culture at a time when there was rules. There was actually rules to it. And that's one of the oldest hip hop sayings in the world. There's rules to this, and there was rules, in the heyday, in the silver, the golden era, the silver era, and then the era that predates both of those eras of the culture. They had rules to it, and if you violated the rules, then you got violated. But maybe this will bring about a sense of urgency to try to, impress upon the newer generation that they do have some responsibility to put a level of consciousness in their art form. They have a obligation to, at least at their live shows, to put out a PSA to the young people in attendance, because there's too many like killings and violence at these hip hop concerts and hip hop shows and events. You spend all them thousands of dollars and you go out and like end up in the ER or in the grave or in the morgue for what? But we know it ain't nothing but like super duper classiness and love and respect going on right now at all these festivals and events marking the 50th anniversary of the culture that everybody loves. Everybody loves it because everybody's participating in it, and historians will never, fully agree on the exact date, on everybody else's contributions made to it, who contributed, who made, what year and all that. But one thing they all seem to be in agreement of is whose house is it? Say what? Whose house? Our house, original people. You dig? But shout out hip hop. Join me in a warm narrative podcast round of applause for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. All right, so as promised, I'm gonna give you a brief overview of my podcast, my objectives, what it is I do here, what it means, what it is symbolic of, and, everything I'm trying to accomplish in the space that I'm occupying, and, the ultimate, takeaway I want my listeners to gain from my content. So here we go. At the very top, Tippy, the name, Narrative, the Narrative Podcast, What does that suggest? Where'd I get that? Well, I named my podcast the Narrator Podcast because the media is always weaving a false narrative of original people and original culture. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to design a platform where I'm showcasing and highlighting us at our best, celebrating our accomplishments and playing up our strengths, just to kind of take away from, the negative light that we're always being shown in by the mainstream media. It is their job to, show us a certain way and to market us a certain way. They do this primarily for profit, but they also do it to help dominant society sustain their socio-economic stronghold they have over people and resources. So by dominant society, what I mean is the upper higher echelon elite class, aka white people, aka wealthy white people at that. But that's kind of my purpose here in this audio space that I'm occupying. So, as a matter of fact, that was a perfect segue to segue into my tagline for this podcast. I've been forgetting to do this at the beginning, but I guess I could do that. So here we go. So my tagline is,
You are now listening to the Narrator Podcast with Halzie. The Narrator Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
So basically that's what I'm here for. I'm here to change the narrative. How do I change the narrative? I provide positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. What else? So basically this platform is also time conscientious. I divide it up into sections. Each section has a speaking point. I'm going to describe each section as I come to them later on, but still, we're still walking through the process. So, as I said, my ultimate takeaway, I want people to get from the, my content that I'm putting out, if nothing else, is how important it is to share positive frames of reference on all platforms about your people and your culture. I mean, our people and our culture. So if you're listening, I'm assuming you're an original man or original woman, and I'm gonna get to the original part in a second. So the Narrative Podcast. So as I said, the media, they control the airwaves. They try to paint us in a negative light intentionally. They intentionally misrepresent us to perpetuate negative stereotypes about our people and, negative stigmas that we have within our culture. So, and they basically give people outside of our culture these negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. So that's why, it's very important to utilize our platforms in an intelligent way to, tell or narrate our stories. So just think if, we're always playing into these negative stereotypes that they make up about our people and our culture, if we're always posting like gang culture, gun culture, pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture, all these negative stereotypes they have about us, if we're always posting that online. Because we're living in the digital age and people, they judge you based on the content that you're posting online. So for people outside of our culture, they're only given negative frames of reference about us anyway. What do you think they're going to think about our people if they see our own people, confirming the stereotypes that they make up about us by posting said stereotypes online? So this is why I call my target audience my narrators, because we're in the unique position with this technology to dictate, tell, or narrate our own story, just simply by watching what we're posting online about our people and our culture. So, like, I encourage, what I do on my platform, I post stories or I tell stories about leadership, entrepreneurship, unity, love, sense of community, caring about our children, caring about our elderly, being pillars in our community, walking dignified and upright. This is what I encourage, people that listen to my podcast to do on their platform, to put that same energy back into the universe about stories where we're walking upright, moving with a sense of urgency, having decorum about ourselves, showing, that somebody attempted to raise us. Instead of feeding into the negative stereotypes that the media, weaves about our culture and our people. So that's, my ultimate takeaway I want my listening audience to get from my content, if nothing else, is the importance of sharing positive content on all platforms, aka being a narrator. So like I said, now we're at the original part. So on my platform, I refer to our people as original people versus black. And the reason why I do that is because I feel original is a better suiting word to describe our people and our culture as opposed to the word black. Because in the beginning, before anything was, we originated everything. We originated the spoken language and the written language. But then along came some people that didn't resemble us, and they kind of flipped the narrative on a lot of things, that we created, including the word black. And when they got a hold of it, they flipped the narrative and made the color black mean everything, any and everything negative you can think about. That's what they associated with the color black. And one of the things they associated with the color black was our people. And, it turned into something kind of, psychological, psychological warfare. You can go into any dictionary and look up the word black and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you come to the word black, it'll have all these kind of negative adjectives, nouns, pronouns, or whatever parts of English speech describing the color black and, how to use it. But before it comes to all that, they go out of their way to dictate origin. It's the only color in the color spectrum in the dictionary that dictates origin. It'll say something along the lines of black, Aboriginal people descending from Africa, or a people with a dark pigment, possessing a dark pigment descending from Africa. And then they'll start hitting you with all these negative words like gloomy, desolate, confused, calamitous, dirty, unholy. They also associate evil and wickedness and dark with the word black. They basically demonized the word black and demonized our people in the process because they linked it, they attached it to us. So it's my reasoning in that same dictionary, to refer to our people as original because original, has a more valid meaning and concern to our people because like I said, we were and are the original people of this planet. Before anything was, we was. We originated and inhabited every single corner of the globe you can think of. And contrary to all unpopular belief, we did not get to all these places all over the planet via slave boats while slavery was real. And, we were forced into slavery. A lot of us did come from the continent of Africa, what we know as Africa. I can do another little, segment later about that, but the continent we know as Africa, a whole lot of us came from there on a slave boat, but not all of us. Not all of us got to every single corner of the globe on a slave boat. The majority of us was already in all these places, already originally located in all these places, especially here in the Americas. But anyway, more to my point. About original. Original in that same dictionary describes, hints at the beginning. Original also, in many cases, means the best. So we know we was here first. Not saying we're superior to anybody, but we definitely was here first. We definitely invented or originated pretty much every modern day convenience you can think of. We originated, the written language, the spoken language. We originated mathematics and science. We originated architecture. We originated agriculture. We originated botany. We originated biology, astrology. Alchemy, excuse me, I'm tripping over my words, but you know what I'm trying to say. Philosophy. The list goes on, like pretty much anything you can think of, we originated it. You can trace it back to us inventing it. So, for that, we're original. Original also means unique, one of a kind, and definitely there ain't nobody like us who can produce every other, color in the color spectrum. Like nobody can produce us, but we can produce them. You know what I'm saying? But also, referring to us as original people unifies us as a people because there are so many different types of us, hailing from so many different parts of the world, speaking so many different languages, believing in so many different beliefs. But one thing we all have in common, we are original. We are original men and women of this planet. We can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for life on this planet. So that's why I refer to our people as original versus black. Now, if you want to keep referring to yourself as black, calling yourself black, saying the word black, that's fine, perfectly fine. I'm not here to argue and debate. Do you? You know, if you feel like you're dropping knowledge on me, I probably already got the knowledge. I'm just not the one to argue. Like I probably possess the same degree of knowledge you do. But I digress. This on my platform. I prefer to refer to our people as original people, as opposed to, you know, just black. But, you know, there are certain instances I will just say black just for, you know, to speed it up, time's sake, and, you know, whatever, what have you. But speaking of time's sake, finna dive into this content here on the Narrator Podcast, this full episode. I've divided my podcast into sections. Each section has a speaking point. The reason why I did that is to make it more time sensitive, keeping it simple, just getting right to the nitty gritty, putting the knowledge out there, putting the positive frames of reference out there in an efficient manner. I don't want you having to clear your entire schedule to listen to my content. I also want to include, you know, a whole demographic. I don't want to leave anybody out, no matter what level of understanding or understanding you're on. I want to include you with the content. So I don't want to shoot over anybody's heads, and I also don't want to, you know, water myself down or diminish my intellect, but I want to be like right in the middle pocket, just to kind of accommodate everybody. Also keeping it time sensitive. This allowed me to cover a wide range of topics without, you know, bouncing from subject to subject, kind of keeping all my points centralized, and I'm not, you know, going down long rabbit holes and, you know, leaving incomplete thoughts, just shading in all the circles and, you know, making it practical, making it applicable, and having the knowledge resonate with my listeners. That's why I do that. So without any further ado, here we go, diving in to the first section here on the Narrator Podcast. This first section is called the promo section. In the promo section, what I'm doing is I'm offering, you know, people, original people owning and operating their own businesses, the opportunity to promote their products here on my platform, the Narrator Podcast. And the reason why I'm doing that is to do my part into circulating the original people dollar within the original people community. How am I doing that? By making, you know, a business known. I'm creating a platform to make a business known, to, you know, put it out in the universe, to have people, you know, patronize businesses. Because while we are due reparations, it is essential that we do for ourselves. We need to network with each other, where we need to promote each other. So if you know of somebody that has their own business, should be utilizing your platform to promote. If you don't have, if you don't feel you have the financial means to support, you can at least be using your platform to promote a business. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm utilizing this platform I'm on to promote businesses. So, having said that, if you need or would like some free promotion for your business, product, or service that you feel needs promoted or would like promoted, hit me up, Halsey Allen, at Passion Webmail at poeticpassion.host. And in the subject bar, type promo. The body of the email include any and everything you want me to know about your business, product, or service. Be specific as possible. The more specific you are, the better the promotional advertisement for your business, product, and service will be. I can tell the people more about whatever you got going on. So be very intentional and be very specific. When you hit me up for free promotion. So again, that email address for the free promotion is passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. And in the body of the email, tell me a little bit about yourself, business, product, or service. Be specific as possible. Give me all the details you want me to know about your business, product, or service that you would need or would like promoted. I'm doing this 110% free, and you have nothing to lose. I mean, only something to gain. I do have a following. Do have a platform. All publicity is good publicity. You don't have nothing to lose. You only have something to gain. So take a chance. Hit me up for the free promotion. Halsey Allen. All right. On to my next section. My next section is the contest section. The contest section is an actual contest that I'm running specifically for this podcast, the Narrative Podcast. And what I'm doing is I'm offering a bulk supply of, your favorite snack food item for participating in the Narrative Podcast content. And, the specific topic for this contest that I'm holding right now is for you to share your most recent Shopping While Black experience. The contest is free. The entry is free. I'm not charging any money. I'm giving away a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item for participating in the content. And you have nothing to lose, only something to gain. The reason why I'm doing the contest is just basically for listener participation, to give you activity, to keep you actively involved in the content. Since for right now, I'm unable to, interact with you directly. But rest assured, I do got hotlines and, Facebook Live and all that good stuff planned in the near future. I know I've been saying it for a grip, but it takes a while to execute stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm trying to hit the ground running. I know you say, well, just do it and don't worry about it, but it's technical stuff you got to take into consideration with that. But rest assured, it is coming. But anyway, for the time being, it's this contest right now for direct interaction with the Narrative Podcast listening audience. So to participate in this contest, and the name of this contest is called the Chew On This contest. To participate in this particular contest, you hit me up at the exact same email address that I just gave for the promotion. But the way I'm separating the two is through the subject bar. So pay very close attention to make sure you're, in the right spot. So to get the free, prize, the free bulk supply of your favorite snack for participating in the Chew On This contest, hit me up, Halsey Allen, at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type Chew On This /or Shopping While Black. If you do not want to type the entire word Shopping While Black, you may type SWB in all caps in the body of the email. Make sure to include your mailing address so I know where to send your prize. And then, of course, your most recent Shopping While Black experience. Tell me what most recently happened to you. And then, of course, include the type of snack food item that you would like for your prize. And it's not one, I'm sending you a bulk supply of whatever snack food item you tell me to send you. So I'm gonna run it back one more time before moving on to the next section. So, one more time. To enter the Chew on This contest on the Narrator podcast, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail at poeticpassion.host. And in the subject bar, type Chew on This /or - Shopping While Black. If you do not want to type the entire word, Shopping While Black, you can type SWB in all caps. Body of the email, include your mailing address, your most recent Shopping While Black experience, and then tell me what type of snack food item you would like as your prize for entering the contest. It's very simple. It doesn't cost any money. You know, you're getting something, so hit me up. All right, on to the next section. Or actually, really the first section. Those two sections were just like the warm up to get you ready for this content. But I guess the main section of the Narrator podcast, the highlight section. In the highlight section, what I'm doing is how it sounds. I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original men and original women. And the reason why I'm doing that is to provide, because that's my core and my mission statement, to provide positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. So in the highlight section, I'm providing a positive frame of reference about entrepreneurialism. Because the people I highlight in the highlight section, they are all entrepreneurs. They started their own businesses. They all started at, from the bottom with nothing, with little to no college educational training. And they found a way to start their own business. And the reason why I feel that is important, because we don't have a lot of positive frames of reference about entrepreneurs. The very few frames of reference that were given about entrepreneurs on these reality television shows are, really almost grossly misrepresenting us as a people. These producers, they focus the camera on the dysfunction and the toxicity rather than the entrepreneurialism, whatever the word is, you know what I'm saying? Focus the camera lens on everything except, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. They fixate and focus on the fighting, the arguing, and the name calling. They don't show us, being dignified and walking in an upright manner, loving each other. They're always showing us in chaos and disharmony and disunity. So here in the highlight section on the Narrator podcast, I cut through that by walking you through an entrepreneur's journey onto becoming an entrepreneur without any of the dysfunction and any of the toxicity these reality television shows depict us in. Here in the highlight section, what I'm also doing is I'm also, creating the healthy habit of, supporting each other. So I'm shouting out businesses and I'm putting in the atmosphere for all my listeners to utilize their platforms to promote instead of tear down. Endorse instead of destroy. I think that's about covered it. Some other things I'm doing in the highlight section, qualifying factors for me to highlight is, of course, they're original people owned and operated. Of course, hiring their own, of course. Some other things is they either have their own nonprofit organization or they pay into a nonprofit organization. They hire their own and they do for some type of community outreach, they do for the community. And then the last qualifying factor or qualifying theme from businesses featured in the highlight section on the Narrator podcast is they align up with my current theme. And my current theme is the theme of summer. So without any further ado, we're diving into the highlight section here on the Narrator podcast. So like I said, it is the season of summer. And my logic for, the theme of the businesses that I'll be highlighting today on the Narrator podcast, something we do every summer, or something a lot of people do every summer for people to actually have them, is people kind of detail the wit. People like going to, it's almost, a rite of passage in some neighborhoods for us after we get that first vehicle. It's going to the car wash to detail your automobile. That's what a lot of us do in the summertime. We detail our automobiles by going to the car wash to wash our vehicle. And then sidebar, owning your own automobile detailing business is a perfect passive stream of income. You can have that as a side hustle. It'll pay for itself. You just have to be dedicated like these people that I'm about to highlight in the highlight section are to it. So without any further ado, all the businesses that will be highlighted today in the highlight section of the Narrator podcast is original people-owned car washes or detailing shops or whatever you want to call it. So the first business that will be highlighted in the highlighted section on the Narrative podcast is Mirror Reflections Auto Spa. And the proprietor's name is Roddy Tatum. The business was established in 2014. And I'm gonna back up a bit because I took down my bulleted notes, and I was saying something about the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And well, we just had a passing. He's not an original man in the original people community, but I know we've been hearing the song, and we wanted to know the connection for the younger generation. As you know, Paul Rubin just passed. Paul Rubin, his alter ego, or his persona that many people in the hip hop community associate him with is Pee Wee Herman. And there was a hip hop artist by the name of Joe Ski, and he had a song about the dance on how to do the Pee Wee Herman. So Gen Xers, you know, but people younger than that, there was a movie called Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and he had a scene in there where he was dancing to this like 1960s song, Tequila, and then Joe Ski He kind of like took that scene from that song and made it a hip hop dance. He put a hip hop beat over top of that, took the sample from Tequila, put a hip hop sample over it, and it became the Pee Wee Herman, a classic hip hop dance. And the Pee Wee Herman show is a classic hip hop show because so many of us, grew up watching Pee Wee Herman in the morning, the Pee Wee Herman show. As a matter of fact, Lawrence Fishburne had a reoccurring character on the Pee Wee Herman show. The grandfather from Blackish, talking to like the Gen Zers, he was a reoccurring character on the Pee Wee Herman show called Cowboy Curtis. So that is a very much, part of hip hop culture too. But anyway, back to the highlight section on the Narrator podcast. So the first business is Mirror Reflections Auto Spa. Proprietor's name is Rodney Tatum. He started his business in October 2016. He basically started it because he just loved doing detailing cars as a hobby. I couldn't really find any articles to support like why he turned it into a full-time business, but essentially he hires his own. He has a very, complex training session. He's very passionate about detailing cars. He takes it super serious. He's very passionate about it. You can go to his website, read more about it, mirrorreflectionsautospa.com. Physical address is 214 Northwest 3rd Street, Gainesville, Florida, 32601U. Telephone number 312-215-9453. And as I said, basically he got into, detailing. He's always just loved detailing cars, always passionate about it. Another thing is he is a purist. He doesn't really believe in using machines. So this is another prime example of something that I'm always talking about here is why, robots just simply won't replace all human beings. It's because there's some things they just can't do. I mean, they do have, the car wash with the brushes, but, to get a real good clean, to shine it up real good, you need human hands. You need people to really just buff it and wash it. And that's exactly what, Rodney's business does. They actually use, his signature is like the mitten. He got actual like mittens with bristles on. Then he has human beings taking and hand washing all the vehicles, hand waxing all the vehicles to get it that good, custom shine. He specializes in getting scratches out of the paint. He also has his own unique wax blend formula for waxing the vehicle. And so do yourself the biggest, hugest favor if you're in the northwest area of Gainesville, Florida, go check out Mirror Reflections Auto Spa and support the brother Rodney Tatum. So help me give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Rodney and Mirror Reflections Auto Spa. All right, moving right along. Next section in the highlight section of the Narrator podcast is super, not super with an E and R. It's not super, it's super, S-U-P-A, auto detailing. And the proprietor's name is and one Mr. James Stapleton. He established the business in 2021. And you can go online and hit him up at www.stapletonssuperauto-detailing.com. Telephone number 952-652-7710. Or email him directly at james@superdetailing.com. So he's family owned and operated. He has, members of his family, his children, and so on and forth, helping him with his establishment. He got his start. He's not originally from the state where his business is located. His business is located in Minnesota. He's originally from Memphis, Tennessee. He moved to Minnesota in 1996. He graduated in 99. Whilst, attending high school, so from like 96 to 99, he worked at various auto shops as a detailer. So eventually it was just second nature to open up his own detailing shop. He opened up right before the pandemic hit. And, he got tremendous support from the community to stay in business because he was doing such a dynamic job. What sets him apart is he has, a location service. He'll come to you actually. Just a second. Hit it up. His services, because I forgot to write it down in my bulleted points. Okay, I had to take a little quick pause. So it looks like his specialties is mobile detailing. That means he'll come to you. Like basically, it works like kind of like Lyft or Uber. You can download the app and he'll come to you, or you can come to him, leave your car with him. Either or. His physical address is 3500 Cannon Street, 600 Hastings, Minnesota 55033. He also specializes in semi-truck cleaning, pet hair removal, odor treatment, and stains. Stains in the paint or stains in the interior of the car. That's, his specialty. All his chemicals on his website, he says, are eco-friendly. So everything is all natural cleaning products. So go support James Stapleton at Super Auto Detailing. Let's give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for James Stapleton and Super Auto Detailing. And last but not least, this is actually a little tearjerker because this is just, when one of our children just wants to do something positive. There's so many negative There's so many negative frames of references and negative isms targeted at our youth, and so many opportunities for them to go the wrong way, that when you hear a story about one of our youth, doing something positive with their life, is very heartwarming. So this is a very heartwarming story, an honor and a privilege to present to you today here on the Narrator Podcast. Is the story of a young brother who at the time was only 11 years old when he had this idea to start his own detailing shop. And this is a story of a young brother by the name of Jabari Dunson. The name of his business is Jabari's Car Cleaning Service. He advertises on Google, or not Google, but I guess that's my key to Google it. Yes, he advertises it on Jabari on Instagram. It's JB_auto_detailing931. His Instagram handle is jccs.2020. That's the year he founded the business. So Jabari is from, I was so excited I forgot to take it all down in my notes. So I had to go back. From Germantown, Philly. So wherever Germantown, Philly that's where he's from. He basically started just doing odd jobs, taking out trash, doing lawns, just whatever, for a couple of dollars. Then one day he just decided to focus strictly on cars. Detailing cars, did a very good job of it. Of course, he does it all by hand. His family helps him with the supplies. He says it's good exercise. He has a lot of fun doing it. He says he loves, the best part of his job is actually seeing, the customers' looks on their faces with how good that he cleaned their car. And that's a very key part in business for successful business, because some people start a business and they have nothing but the bag in mind. But if you're not enjoying what you do, it's not going to be, whatever you're doing, it's not going to be quality. And just like all these stories that I shared today in the highlight section on the Narrative Podcast, all these people were passionate about what they did. And robots can't replicate passion and enthusiasm. This is a human emotion, a human characteristic, a human trait, and a robot will never be able to compete with that. Because when you're passionate about something and you love what you do, it shows and it matriculates through, the finished product. As they say, the proof is in the pudding. So when you visit a detailing service with people that actually love what they're doing, your whip's going to be nice and shiny. He plans to expand his business. He's putting all his money up for college. So he got a lot of years to learn about the ins and outs. He's progressing quite nicely. He's getting better every year. His product line is expanding, so he's getting more and more supplies and more practice. Pretty soon he's going to start getting, employees. For now, it's just really just him and his parents helping him to, have his business. But he's pretty successful to be only 13 years old. So join me in giving Jabari Dutton and Jabari's car cleaning service a warm Narrator Podcast round of applause. And the next section here on the Narrator Podcast is the Spotlight section. The Spotlight section is a section where I'm basically giving a prominent figure within our community their just dues, or AKA flowers, while they're here for all what they do, for the cause. I don't call it the struggle, because we believe in the power of words here on the Narrator Podcast. So if you say the struggle, you're going to feel like you're struggling, not making any progress in the process. So basically, that's what the spotlight is for, giving prominent figures within our community their just dues, their props, their flowers for all what they do for the condition that we're in, the process. So the types of people that I usually spotlight on the spotlight section are entertainers, actors, actresses, models, recording artists, comedians, writers, producers, public figures, religious figures, just basically anybody with a public polarizing figure. Somebody with a lot of viewers, followers, people who are well known by name. Usually those are the people who I spotlight. Lately I've been spotlighting people that you kind of have to dig about. And when I come across their names, I just kind of, make a bulleted point. That's what I've been doing lately. But I might start going back to, well-known entertainers. But anyway, another reason why I spotlight is to create the healthy habit of saying something positive about your brother or sister online, instead of using your platform to denigrate or drag a brother or sister through the mud, or kick them while they're down, or laugh at them, because we get attacked from all sides, and we don't need to, get attacked by friendly fire. We don't need to get attacked by our own. And so that's what I'm doing with the spotlight section, creating the healthy habit of utilizing your platform to say something nice about your brother or sister. And I do believe I've succeeded in my mission to do that, because before I added the spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, nobody on the internet, online, on YouTube, on wherever, was spotlighting anyone until I started a spotlight section here on the Narrator Podcast. That's right, your brother, Halsey Allen, created the way for spotlighting, and you're welcome.
To the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. But yeah. Okay, check 1, check 2. Yeah. So having said all that, today's spotlight is on a young brother by the name of Dakota Hall. And Dakota Hall is an activist, a political activist. He organizes, young people, getting them actively involved in the, political process, voting and all that. He's the first black and indigenous executive director of the Alliance for Youth in Action, and that's an organization that works to empower young people. You can go to their website and hit that up for more, activities they engage in. You can follow him at Dakota Hall on Twitter. He started in 2012 in college on his, political activism route. So, first of all, he says he's half Native and half African American. So we know there's no such thing as African American, and as far as Native, young man, you already are Native, indigenously Native, you foundational indigenously Native to this land. Just putting that out there. But anyway, he's really proactive getting students organized. He organized students on his University of Wisconsin, mobilized the first student strike to fight against budget cuts and unfair other fees, lab fees and stuff. Because you're already on, most of them was already on student aid, and they trying to cut programs. So he was super duper hands-on in that movement. And his other handles include public speaker and trainer. So a lot of corporate entities are using him as a motivational speaker to get them actively involved in using their voice. He does a lot of TEDx talks type of things, so you can YouTube him, put him in the browser on YouTube and see all the stuff that pops up. Matter of fact, we got a little time. Why don't we do it right now? Let's see what pops up. We'll put the young brother's name in here. No videos. Let's try it again. Okay, let's try Dakota Hall activists. Put that. See if that brings something up. Well, nothing pops up on YouTube. But he definitely is an activist, definitely a change maker, helping our youth get involved and active into making a difference politically. And we definitely all should be in support of this young man and, rewarding him for all his accomplishments and achievements and, all the various ways he's helped in the cause. So join me into giving Dakota Hall a warm narrative podcast round of applause for all he's done. All right, moving right along. Next section in the narrative podcast section, or next section in the narrative podcast, on the narrative podcast. Well, the next section. I don't know what I was trying to say, but I messed it all up. The next section on the narrative podcast is the health and wellness section. And this section is exactly how it sounds. In this section, I'm giving tips about health and wellness. And the reason why I feel it is important to have health and wellness tips, you know, as a category on my podcast is because, you know, the powers that be are attacking my people on all fronts, primarily, you know, in the areas of health and wellness. So we're being attacked physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so what I do in the health and wellness section of the narrative podcast is give you tips on health and wellness, how to armor up in all the areas that we're being attacked. Now, small disclaimer before diving in to the health and wellness section here on the narrative podcast. My content is for anybody. Anybody from any background is free to listen to my podcast. If you feel you can learn something by listening, by all means participate and engage me and engage this content. But know that all the content on the narrative podcast, especially in this section, is geared toward original people, my people. And another disclaimer is, even though we are all inhabiting the same planet, we are not all culturally the same. So we all have cultural differences, cultural dietetic differences, like things you can eat within your culture every single day that will cause you no harm, but things culturally that can harm me if I partake in it more than one serving in it, or more than one serving a day of it. It can culturally like hurt me, like some cultures like high starch content and soy, can eat it every single day, but you know, original people, we're not supposed to have that at all. Not supposed to have anything acidic. Also culturally, mentally, mental mind state, mental health, we're all different mentally. We have different mental, emotional triggers. You know, things, you know, certain words trigger certain stuff in my genetic makeup. I react mentally different than you do. You know, you perceive things differently than I do. I perceive things differently than you do. So this is why, you know, just know this, listening to this, when I give health and wellness tips in the health and wellness section here on the Narrative Podcast, I'm catering to original people, and it's from an original person perspective, not a Caucasian person's perspective, not an Asian person's perspective, not a quote-unquote so-called native person's perspective, because we are the original natives. That's why I said so-called. And so on and so forth. But, you know, having said all that, the types of health and wellness tips you will hear from me usually, like if we're talking physically, I give you the health benefits of a fruit, a vegetable, plant, herb, or extract that you can ingest or apply topically to improve your health. Some type of physical exercise you can perform to increase your vitality. On the mental health side of it, you will hear tips such as mindful breathing, meditation, mindfulness, um, managing your emotions, identifying your emotions, spiritual things such as any type of spiritual practice, praying, meditation. Meditation is like spiritual too. Um, so like meditation and praying and any type of, you know, spiritual practice, like, drums and sounds and frequency and all that good stuff. And then for like every once in a blue moon, I hit you with a curveball. I talk about, quantum law, divine law, esoteric things. And I think today is actually one of those days where I hit you with a curveball. And I'm going to speak to you about the importance and the benefits of listing and journaling. So it's so crazy that I chose that. Like, let me just first say, when I start doing my podcast for my full episodes, I start kind of deciding my content earlier in the week. And I say it's so crazy because it's right around the 50th anniversary of hip hop. I decide for the health and wellness tip is listing or writing. And writing is something really integral in the culture, primarily dealing with MCing as you write things. And I'm about to tell you the importance of listing and journaling, how that pertains to all body wellness. So, listing and journaling, this is how primarily you manifest things into reality. It starts by writing it, by putting it to paper. What does that do? Everything has a vibration, everything has a frequency. Believe it or not, there's electrically charged atoms and molecules. When you write, it releases something spiritual. So also when you write something down, it makes it real to your brain. That's like when you go to school, you're studying, you write something down, you write the assignment down. When you're trying to remember something, you write it down. This is how your brain perceives reality. So when you write it, it's real. So this is often like many people, many coaches and gurus and such, they tell you to write your goals down or list. And I'm going to explain the difference between journaling and listing. So, but anyway, how, like on the health side of it, what that releases with pheromones and stuff that releases into your bloodstream. This is, how we wrote things. We wrote ancient Sanskrit. We wrote hieroglyphics in early civilization. So writing is essential. Writing is the cornerstone of creation. So a program we tend to watch, whether you're Christian or non-Christian, a good religious program, it comes on around, in the spring, the 10 Commandments, and they had the character, the Pharaoh, who they demonized him and portrayed him as evil. In every scene he had, he said, "So let it be written, so let it be done." And that's how things are done when you write them. You're transcribing to the universe your intention. You're putting your intentions in the universe when you're writing them. You want something specific to happen, and something specific will happen when you write it down. So that's the health part of it. So now listing and journaling. When you list things, listing is more linear. It's organizational skills. And when you list things, there's no specific order that you want to. It can be specific, but not generally. Typically, when you're listing, there's different types of lists that you make when you write stuff down. Like, most common list that we write is what? The grocery list when you leave the house. When you write it down, you're more apt to bring everything on that list back. And you're less apt to spend money that you don't have. This is why in wealthy households, or people that's at least in the upper middle tax bracket, you notice they write lists when they're out. When they're about to go down, they write a list of everything they need. Like, while I'm out, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z. And then that prevents them from overspending. So listing is just specific things. It's not typically it's not in the order when you're listing, but it's just something you want. And you might not even have it right now. You can list, but then you will manifest it. When you're manifesting something, you write it down. I want it. And then to make it more intentional, more specific when you write it, you put a date next to it. Then if you want to get super integral with it, you break it down. You put steps on your list. Step 1. And then you check off the steps every time you perform the step. And then next thing you know, you done manifested your goal, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to bring forth into fruition. That's listing. Now journaling is more of deals in emotions. Journaling is more emotional centered. This is like sorting out your emotion. How do I feel about this? What does this thing make me feel? That's taking inventory on your emotions. How will I feel? This is what you're suggesting to your subconscious. How will obtaining this particular thing make me feel? I feel wealthy when you're going after financial goals. I feel happy knowing, being secure and owning my own house, owning my own property, owning my own business. That will fall under journaling. And this again helps bring things into reality, makes your subconscious accept it as reality. Because when you write things down, they manifest into reality. And that's, like I said, when I was leading off with hip hop, this is what MCs do, usually. Now, there are some gifted ones who are exceptions to the rules that don't write their rhymes down. They just hear the beat and they rhyme over top of the beat. They don't write nothing down. There's some exceptional MCs, but the majority of them, they take a pen, they take a pad, they write the words down, and then the words become reality. And so we're on the 50th anniversary of hip hop because somebody an MC wrote some words down, and now their words that they wrote down are on every corner of the globe, every place that has music, every place that has music, every place that has hip hop culture, because an MC wrote something down on paper, said it over a microphone, by which, by the way, an original man invented, and amplified their voice, magnified the words that they wrote down or someone else wrote down for them, because some people don't write their own rhymes, they pay ghostwriters. But they wrote it and it manifests into reality. There's all kinds of different examples of listing and journaling. A popular form of listing, this is something they do in corporate America. It's a technique called fishboning. And fishboning is just like it sounds. They write something on an idea board when they're trying to, do a project. They got a project due. The corporation head puts them into groups, and they want to get they got a timeline when the project has to be done, and they're coming up with ideas for the project, and they're using the fishbone technique. And the fishbone technique is like, they write an idea, and then they attach another idea to that idea, and it kind of resembles, by the time they're done brainstorming, it kind of, all their ideas that they're attaching to each other, it kind of resembles the bones of a fish. That's why they call that technique fishboning. And this is just, that's the brainstorming listing technique. Another thing when you're doing is you're listing, just listing, you take and divide up into categories. You put happy, make it like a cross, put happy in one corner, put sad in one corner, put angry in one corner, put scared in one corner. And then you take a timer, 2 minutes, don't even think about it, go to one section and write, like, take the happy section, just start writing words. Just start writing words. Don't even like think, just whatever the first word comes into your mind, that's what you write. That's what you write. Then when the timer goes off, stop writing. That's a good way for therapy when you're listing. Also, journaling and listing, that's good therapy. Just like I said, the spontaneous method, when you're not even giving thought, when you're just writing words, you're not even thinking about what you're writing, you just set the timer, you just write a word. It's a real good exercise if you're a writer, if you're a poet, if you're, trying to write a script, just write. This helps with writer's block when you use this method, when you just take a timer, just write. Don't even think about a subject. Don't even think about anything. Just write and write and write. Look at all the words that you wrote. And then, that's a good way to help the creative juices get flowing when you're trying to create something when you're writing. But definitely, listing and journaling or writing in general, this is the birthstone of innovation and creativity and manifestation. It's how you manifest your reality. You write. You can literally write your world. Now, there are some people that cannot read and write, which is tragic. They compensate for it in different ways, but they're not as prosperous. So you have to know how to write. Well, I think that shall cover the health and wellness tip for today here on the Narrative Podcast. So do yourself a favor, do your Googles, list different writing techniques, practice different writing techniques, either the listing technique or the journaling technique, but get comfortable writing. Write your thoughts down. You will see how much better you feel when you write things down, when you journal or list things, how quicker things will come to you when you're trying to attract something. When you're trying to attract a specific something, you're going to get it, guaranteed. It won't even take 21 days if you break it down into steps, follow the steps. And then if it don't work, one of the steps don't work, that's progression. Y'all see why that didn't work? I did this, but it didn't work, Because it's all about learning how to communicate with your subconscious. That's what writing does. It affirms to your subconscious that it's real. Because you can just dream a dream and never, catch your dream. But this is how you make your dreams become reality. You write things down, you list them, you journal it. This affirms to your subconscious that you're intentional, that you mean business, that this is real. This is real, it's not a drill. I'm going to have this amount of money. I'm going to go to this specific landmass. I'm going to be in this type of a relationship. That's how we get specific on the spiritual plane. So that'll do it for the health and wellness section of the Narrative Podcast, and moving on to our next section. Next section is my speaking points. My speaking point, what I'm doing here in this section is basically, giving my 2 cents on current events, whether it be specifically in our community or world events. And the purpose of me doing that's basically, when I'm doing that, I'm controlling the narrative. Because when I first started, if you paid attention, like I said, the media dictates and controls the narrative about how our people are perceived. So they go out of their way to make us look and sound crazy. So when I'm delivering my speaking point or points of the day, I'm breaking whatever the subject is from our perspective. I'm breaking it down through original people's eyes, taking their power away and, telling you how it is, not how they perceive it to be. And a disclaimer, I don't profess to be 110% correct on my assessment of breaking news, but my that version sounds better than CNN's version. I can guarantee you that when it's in concern or referencing our people. I can definitely tell you my version sounds better than Fox News. I can definitely tell you my version is better than MSC, NBC, or wherever, and all them other, outlets. But that's basically what this section is dedicated to doing, is controlling the narrative. So without any further ado, we jump right into the speaking point of the day here on the Narrative Podcast. I got a couple topics I want to address. First and foremost, I gotta eat a little humble pie. One of the first things one of the things I strive and I pride myself in doing is not engaging in gossip, not even covering a topic that I don't have knowledge on. If I don't know it to be true, if I don't know the whole full story, I don't, go back and talk behind it and because this is a gossip-free zone here on the Narrator podcast. I don't engage in gossip. I don't circulate gossip and rumors, and I don't have I don't give it any cadence or reference here. Because like I said, we get kicked down by everybody. The last thing we need to do is the last thing I want for my podcast is to engage in the foolishness and, embrace gossip or misinformation. And so, having said that, I kind of got to recant a previous statement on the Cardi B situation because I didn't have full knowledge of the situation, and unfortunately, I came into some new knowledge, and it's kind of not good. So what happened with the water situation? She did in fact get hit by a water bottle, but here's the thing: she told the audience it was all right to get her wet. You can throw water on me. That's what she said. She on camera saying you can throw water on me. Just don't get it in my face. Don't get it in my hair. Don't get in my face. Don't get in my hair. Where have I heard that one before? We have fun here on the Narrator podcast. Like, I'm just saying. She said, don't get in my face. Don't get it in my hair. But, so, she got wet. Somebody didn't follow directions. They got a little carried away. They threw the whole water bottle at her. And the person she hit with the microphone wasn't even the person that threw the water bottle. But it doesn't really take away from the point that I was making. Because the point I was making is that we're living in a society where we're rewarding foolishness, where, rewarding people acting buffoonish and, just acting the ass when they go in public. And they do it all for likes and views and clout and all that because, the media rewards and incentivizes that type of behavior. So it doesn't necessarily take away from what I was saying, but I wasn't really all the way well informed about the situation. Because, I'm watching it like y'all. That was the footage released. The footage, they just circulating that one clip like they do, like the media does. Just got that one clip of her throwing the microphone, no context behind it. So then I thought I got a little bit of context. And the little bit of context I thought I had, I didn't have. Because, the person she hit with the microphone wasn't even the person that threw the water. And then she told people that it was all right to get her wet and throw some water. So, somebody's going to take their opportunity. When you say something like that in the crowd, these days, in the era we're living in, somebody is going to take and abuse that invitation to do some dirty, foul mess like they did. And they did some dirty, foul mess and violated her with a water bottle. But that's all I really want to say. I just want to recant my statement. Or recant, I'm not even recanting. I don't even think I'm recanting because I still don't believe she deserved to get hit with a water bottle, but I just wasn't really all the way informed on what happened. So it's a teachable moment, and the lesson I believe she learned when she gives a concert: don't leave the door open, inviting people to throw stuff. Because they will take it and run with it and do some dirty, foul mess and do the dirty, foul mess that they did, which is unfortunately, throw a whole bottle of water at her. Unfortunate. All right, so next situation, our brother, Jamie Foxx. He is newly come into fire for his recent statement that he made about a certain group of people that you can't say anything about, but they can say anything else about our community.
This is Little Baby Pizzas.
And they don't have to, apologize. But he said it. And so now he's apologizing for what he said on all platforms. So he's offering his apology statement. I know my choice of words have caused offense, the actor wrote in the statement, referencing a post of his that was perceived by some as anti-Semitic. I want to apologize to the J community. Notice I ain't even saying the whole word, because you can't say nothing. And everyone who was offended by my post. I know my choice of words have caused offense, and I'm sorry. That was never my intent. To clarify, I was betrayed by a fake friend, and that's what I meant with the they not anything more. I only have love in my heart for everyone. I love and support the J community. So that was his apology. And the word, like to paraphrase, I believe he said something along the lines of, I don't got time to sit up there and find a direct quote of what he said that may have triggered the outrage. I think he said something along the lines of the J words killed Jesus. And that's not biblically incorrect, because it says in the Bible when Jesus got crucified, who crucified him? Who crucified Jesus? Bible scholars. Come on, we having Bible class. Who crucified Jesus? But yeah, I don't know how we take offense at something that's literally there in the Bible. But again, let somebody say something about our community, one of our brothers, one of our sisters, and this is over as quickly as I said it. And this is a perfect example to segue into my next point. Take that same, because you can't tell people how to feel, but when you're offended and you have offense, you should have a very clear stance on what has offended you. What is so offensive about whatever was said or done. And so that's my thing. How are you going to be offended about something that's in the Bible? The context in which he said it might have been a little cringy, but was it wrong enough to even like say anti-Semitic? It can't be anti-Semitic if it's in the Bible. That's what I'm saying. That's my whole point. You can't cry foul, and it's right in print. In like they killed Jesus. Like you can't cry foul on that. But again, you can't tell people how to feel and how to react to things, but your offense should have some degree of merit. You should have some degree of merit. Right. Now here's something for the defense has no degree of merit. This is something that was totally offensive by a person old enough to know better, old enough to know you're not supposed to say that word at all, and how dare you say it in front of my presence in the context in which you said it, comedic or otherwise. And I'm speaking on none other than Bill Maher. He's a comedian. He has a really obscure sense of humor. He's right in the pocket of, like George Carlin. Who else is kind of, who was that one guy that used to scream all the time? Bob, the one that died, used to wear berets all the time. I can't think of his name right now, but he was in like a Rodney Dangerfield movie. I'll think of his name in a minute, but he got that version of offensive comedy. Not really offensive, but like, blunt comedy. But anyway, so the guy's name is Bill Maher, and his real name is William, but they call him Bill for short. But he said Ice Cube went on the show, and they was kind of like just talking, and he said, yeah, I'm a house, just out the blue. Just out the blue. You can go pull it up, watch it for yourself. He said, I'm a house nigga. And Ice Cube basically checked him and said, like, I just want to know a couple things, like, why did you think it was cool to say that? And he never really did, say why. He said, I made a mistake, and I apologize. But notice in his apology, when he apologized, it was, all right, cool. But let's, take a teachable moment. He didn't want to accept the teachable moment. As Ice Cube was attempting to peel back the subconscious layers of the racism, because he tried to play it so light, like, oh, I'm a comedian, this is just abstract art, this is my art form, this is what I do. When you got people in that same community that go after our artists for jokes they performed 20 years ago, jokes that they performed before there was a Facebook, jokes before there was Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Like things like they might be like 40, 50 years old now. They try to hold them accountable for a joke they made when they was 18 or 19. Cancel them at that, try to cancel their everything. So said all that to say, I wonder how many more times that community is going to make Jamie Foxx apologize. How many more times is Jamie Foxx going to apologize? He's offered his sincere apology. Is this good enough? Because when it comes to us, when we offer our apology, it's never good enough. They make us go through extremes, like let's not forget how they did Nick Cannon. He apologized on every single platform that you can think of. They made him go to like 8 or 9 different synagogues, and then made him apologize 10 more times, and then had a detailed list of everything he had to do to get his show back, to get, to prevent being canceled. He had a protocol list that he had to fulfill, a time frame he had to fulfill it in to say, okay, your apology is good enough. But we've never received an official apology for slavery. We've never received an official apology for Jim Crow, for systemic oppression, for redlining. We've never received an official apology for the Tuskegee experiments. We've never received an official apology for mass incarceration, for COINTEL. We've never received an official apology for everything harmful to our people. We've never received an official apology for nothing. Nobody's been forced to apologize for anything. We've never received an apology for like almost 10 decades worth of offensive animation and cartoons and comics depicting us in a negative light. They had cartoons like the old 8-Ball. They had Disney cartoon in the 80s, Brer Rabbit, Char Baby. They didn't apologize to us for that. They didn't apologize to us for the crows in Dumbo. And they're not going to apologize. And if they do apologize, the apology isn't going to be sincere. It's going to be like Bill Maher. He said, hey, I'm sorry. Like, get off my nuts. That's how the tone that he said it in, like, hey, if you don't accept my apology, I don't know what to tell you. I said I'm sorry. But let us offend somebody. Let us say something that a group finds offensive, and see how many times we got to apologize. I'm sorry, please forgive me. 20, 30 years, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Master, please forgive me. There's definitely a double standard when it comes to this apology thing. Well, that's all the content I have for today. Because as I said, I try to keep my platform, I try to keep it short and sweet, simple, and to the point. And we have exceeded our time limit for today. So join me again next weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. And in the meantime, download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Every single weekend I record full episodes, but tune in every single weekday wherever you get your podcast from, so you don't miss a live edition of the Narrator Podcast. My live editions are super random days. I never know what days I'm going to have available to do one. But, check me out during the weekday for a live edition of the Narrator Podcast. The best way to do it is to go to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell. You will never miss me when I'm live because this platform broadcasts directly to YouTube and my Twitter when I go live on this platform. So, follow me, hit the subscription bell, or hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell on YouTube. And I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube, by the way. And I'm also Halsey Allen on the Twitter that have murdered the Twitter bird. We ain't got no more Twitter bird. What up with that? We just got a big X. It kind of scares me. Actually, I think it's like that New World Order type thing. They got rid of the bird, now we got a big X. That's my conspiracy theory music. But go follow me on Twitter as well if you want to keep up with me when I go live. I'm Halsey Allen on Twitter as well. So that's how you catch me when I'm live. I didn't get a chance to play my projects on my live feed last week, but making up for it here right now. So I also write poetry. If you didn't know, I got my own personal poetry blog. You can go support that on blogger.com. It's called hallziespoetrycorner, and the way you support it is go to www.mrhalziesblogs.com and share my poems from Halsey's Poetry Corner on all platforms. Like whatever digital platform you occupy, share a poem from my poetry blog, Halsey's Poetry Corner, on blogger.com, and the address is www.mrhalziesblogs.com. My tagline for that poetry blog is Halsey's Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions, and when you read one, you'll find out why. So, like, if you got a visual platform, you might need to use your YouTube, use your Instagram to tell, your followers, your viewers, what poem on Halsey's Poetry Corner that you liked, that you particularly liked, or, you're going to have to, say the name of the poem, or at least at the very least, give up the link if you got YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. Those are just the visual mediums, but on like Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, Tumblr, you can just share the link. What else I got going on? I have written a book of poetry, actually. I have to actually check because they have just recently gone premium. It was free when I started my project. It was 110% free. And like everything in life, eventually it costs money. It now costs money. The platform is called poetizer.com. The name of my book is called Halsey's Poetry Corner. And I've written a book on poetizer.com. They have their own bookstore. So to purchase my book, go to poetizer.com, go to their bookstore and purchase my book of poetry that I've written. It's titled The Black Card. It's 30 poems, insightfully written, reflecting everything we go through as a people. It's basically like the survival guide of original people, aka black people. So all our good, positive, and negative experiences that we go through as a people, you will definitely want to have that in your collection. It'll make a great table, a coffee table read, a great travel book. Good for all ages. Go check it out. It is some real creative, high caliber poetry. You will love it. really creative and insightful. Go purchase it today on poetizer.com. It's called The Black Card. You get it by going to poetizer.com and visiting their bookstore on poetizer.com, and it's called The Black Card. Purchase The Black Card today or get your black card revoked. Well, that's it and that's all. Thanks for listening to another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. I am out of here. Join me this weekend for another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. Join me throughout the week, wherever you get your podcast from, for a live edition of the Narrative Podcast. But whatever you do, download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. This is Halsey Allen sending you love, life, and healing energy over everything that you're doing right now. So join me this weekend for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. Halsey Allen, changing the narrative one episode at a time and encouraging you, narrators, to change the narrative one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen and the Narrative Podcast signing off. And it's like that.
With Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.